Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer transmission. And today we are going to be doing a live chat. Let me just adjust my glasses so you don't see as much glare. Hello and welcome. I'm back, obviously, in my set. Yesterday was a very impromptu video, so I'm good to be back. And I'm in the mood for dancing, romancing, la 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 la. Da-da-da. Yes, I am in the mood for dancing and romancing, and it's really hot here in the United Kingdom, so I have no bow tie on today, so I hope you don't mind. But I'm feeling a little festive and a little fruity, I think today is the word. So I'm going to wait for people to drop in. This is a live chat, so I will be reading some comments, some viewer comments as we go. Obviously, I haven't set this up before, so we'll just have people dropping in. Just to explain about the outfit today, I am, of course, wearing this gorgeous red or crimson velour jacket with the Cambridge pearl brooch and a tiara which I haven't worn for a very long time. I've dug this out of my collection because I think it goes really, really nicely. It is, of course, the Kent festoon tiara. So you would normally see this atop of Princess Michael of Kent's head. It is a rather gorgeous one. I can see people dropping in. Hello to everyone. I can't say hello to everyone individually, but hello to all of you. And we do have some topics to talk about today. So I'm going to go straight into the first topic. Now, the first topic, I'm afraid, is not a very happy one. In fact, it's one that's very tragic and very sad, to be quite honest. It is, of course, the lady that was involved, that was hit and hospitalised, very seriously hospitalised in the Duchess of Edinburgh's kind of convoy, if you like, in her police escort. She got hit and she has sadly passed away. News has been confirmed. So I'm going to read a little bit to you and we'll sort of stop and we'll talk about it as we normally do. So the lady that was hit in the motorcycle escort that was accompanying Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, through London has died. The family of 81-year-old Helen Holland, so that was her name, from Birchanger in Essex, said she fought for her life for nearly 2 weeks. Of course, this was shortly after the coronation, but irreversible damage to her brain finally ended the battle. Buckingham Palace said the Duchess was deeply saddened and sent her deepest condolences to all the family. The police watchdog is investigating the crash. So we'll stop here and we'll talk about it a little bit more before we move on. So I don't think we're going to be expecting any more from the palace on this now. I think now that this has happened, now would not have been the time, or the opportunity to sort of go into explaining what's happened from the palace side, because of course, any of the police that actually protect the Duchess of Edinburgh when she's on engagements, the police escorting the special SEG unit, they are all employed by the police. It's pretty much the same way that it's not the royal family that make the decisions on Prince Harry's protection. It is the government, it is the police. So it is the police that are responsible for this. Basically, nobody should have got hurt. The Duchess should have been able to have moved on her way. Royal movement should have gone smoothly with no incidents. Any blame would not come back to the royal family. It would come, of course, to the police that were escorting her. So I think that's very important to remember. So I think the Buckingham Palace statement was fitting. It shows Sophie's sadness um, and doesn't go any further than that, which I think is appropriate. Now, I do believe, the full statement on one of my links somewhere, but I think it's contained in this article. So we'll read on. Miss Holland had been in London visiting her sister when she was struck at the junction of West Cromwell Road and Warwick Road in Earl's Court on the 10th of May. Following the crash, her family said she was in a coma, and on Friday, the police said she remained in a critical condition. Announcing her death, her son Martin Holland said his mother had died after suffering multiple broken bones and massive internal injuries. Um, it's also been confirmed by Buckingham Palace that Sophie will be in touch with the family privately. And I think that is the correct and right thing to do from Sophie's point of view. Of course, she was in the escort, so she will feel. Um, I don't think she is to blame, but she might feel a sense of responsibility in the respect that that police escort wouldn't have been there if she hadn't been moving through. So it is a really sad state of affairs. The chief superintendent, Richard Smith, head of the Met Police, the Met Police's Royalty and Specialist Protection Unit, said the tragic outcome is being felt by colleagues across the Met, and thoughts are very much with the woman's family and loved ones. Officers know that their actions, both on and off duty, are open to scrutiny, and rightly so. And following our referral of the incident, they have launched an independent investigation. We continue to cooperate with and support that inquiry. So it's not entirely sure, I don't think, formally what's actually gone wrong. And that investigation is at an early stage. And I think that they are trying to gather evidence from anybody who could have been a key or eyewitness at that time. So they would like to hear from anyone who saw or recorded any part of this incident who is yet to speak to us. So if you do know anybody who has anything, any footage, any pictures, was an eyewitness, do tell them to get in touch with the police. Now, I was reading an article, and I don't know how true this is, but some reports are saying that this lady was crossing a pedestrian crossing and she was hit. Other people are saying that at the time, this was just after the coronation, and there had been things set up, like big kind of black screens that had been put up by the council. And these were partly obscuring the vision of the road. So it could have been that she was sort of, and some people were saying that there had been some near incidents as well. So if she was kind of staring around this one way to have a look, and then she got hit and then thrown apparently 40 feet across the road to where she finally landed, it could actually have been an issue of the council and not the police at all. So we need to kind of wait and see what comes back, because if it was that these big screens were dangerously in the wrong place, then actually nobody was to blame apart from the council, because the lady would have had to have stepped out to have seen, and of course she could have been partially obscured from the police officers who were driving on the motorcycles until she stepped out. So if you see what I mean, it might not actually be um, the lady or the police that were to blame. It could actually be that the council were to blame to have these kind of things obscuring the vision. So we do wait to see what comes back from that investigation, and I'm sure we will find out eventually. Yes, everyone that's in the chat is saying that is a very sad. It is very sad. Um, Christine, we will get to that in a moment. I do. That is one of my things to talk about. So I am going to move on. We're going to stick with Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, for a moment, because she has had a secret. I say secret. A low-key visit to Iraq, and I'm sure people can understand why visiting Iraq would be low-key. It's not something that you likely announce ahead of time in case it poses a major security risk. But she has visited Iraq, and she is back now in the country. So the Duchess of Edinburgh has become the first UK royal to visit Baghdad as part of her work to support survivors of sexual violence in conflict. So again, people that say that royal work doesn't have any impact, you know, unless there's donations made or money raised. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's very important work highlighting an issue to get conversations going. And I think that is one such thing. And to make sure that people feel like they are not forgotten. So Buckingham Palace said Sophie had spent 2 days in Iraq's capital to learn of the challenges women and girls face. Now, in my mind, if anybody deserves a women or a... There we go, a new microphone. It's a new microphone. The other one obviously needs charging up. So there we go. I will try this again. So as I was saying, the late Queen was technically the Duchess of Edinburgh. So I don't think we have any associations with the Duchess of Edinburgh title. But when we think of Prince Edward, we don't think of necessarily the Duke of Edinburgh. So when we're hearing the Duke of Edinburgh, people think about Prince Philip. Anyway, I digress. Sophie was praised for being the first member of the royal family to visit Baghdad. She champions a global initiative to prevent sexual violence in conflict, and on International Women's Day in 2019, she announced her mission to support the UN's Women, Peace and Security agenda, which encourages women's participation in peace processes and conflict resolution. So definitely, I think if they're looking for the next Women of Vision award, I think Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, should be a shoe-in, surely. Although obviously I don't think Sophie is friends with the owner of that. Anyway, I digress. She champions a global initiative to prevent sexual violence. During her visit to Baghdad, she gave a speech at the annual Women's Voices First conference to promote that agenda, which says women must play a part in all efforts to achieve international peace and security. Obviously, she posed for some photos. She also visited a family planning centre. She then paid a visit to the two men running the country, Prime Minister and the President, and she also met with the First Lady. Mr. Burson Richardson said Sophie and the two political leaders spoke about the UK and Iraq's strong ties. Of course, this is at the request of the British government, so it is to strengthen those ties and links. It's part of the royal family's being classed as a soft power, if you like. So there we go. I just thought that was really sort of important to talk about. Samantha says the elderly lady who was killed by Sophie's motorcade has died. Yes. Why she had a motorcade? Because she was being transported from engagements. I don't think this was personal. She was coming back, I think, from an engagement. So that is why this is what police protection involves, and why Harry and Meghan want it so badly, because it is the best protection that you can get. Money cannot buy this sort of protection. Harry tried yesterday and failed on that miserably. So the next story that I want to talk about today is the Chelsea Flower Show. Chelsea Flower Show has always been one of those really important, almost fixed focal points of the royal year. Chelsea Flower Show always happens. It's always really amazing. The late Queen was a big champion of the Chelsea Flower Show. She always visited whenever she could, along with members of the royal family. Now, on the first day of the Chelsea Flower Show, it's open to celebrities, royalty, people of influence, including journalists who can go off and write all of their pieces about the Chelsea Flower Show. So it's very important. I would love to go on that day. Just imagine seeing all those flowers, and of course, all the people that are there, most of which, as I said, are fairly famous. And don't forget that the Duchess, I was going to say Duchess of Cambridge, the Princess of Wales, did have that amazing woodland garden a few years back. So she made a very impromptu attendance at the event, And some people are saying that she upstaged the king and queen, who were also there. Now, I don't think she was trying to upstage them. I think what we have to remember is that all members of the royal family are there, and it's not the royal family member that gets to decide what photos are used online or which make the daily papers, all those newspapers. I think Catherine, because she looks absolutely stunning and gorgeous in that beautiful pink summer dress with the high collar, she was picked obviously to go on the fronts of the newspapers. So people are saying that she upstaged the king and queen. If she turned up in a bin bag, I'm pretty certain that she would still probably upstage the king and the queen. Anyway, it's entirely up to the editor, the photo editor, and the newspaper editor to decide what narrative is being put out there, which photographs make the front pages and the headlines. They chose Catherine over the king and queen. Now, obviously, she looks gorgeous. She attended a little children's picnic, and of course, that ties in with her work with the early years. So, very much she was going to enjoy the show, she was going to be with family, and she was tying into some of her work. So, I thought that was really a great thing to do. But going to the king and queen, I also thought that Camilla looked stunning in her summer dress as well. Now, it was a beautiful summer dress. I'm afraid with these live chats, I can't really pop photos on the screen, but I can show you. There you go. There's Camilla's beautiful, gorgeous summer dress, and the king looked lovely in his blue suit and shiny shoes. So I think they all look lovely, and Camilla's hair is looking really, really good these days. So I think everyone enjoyed their time there. There were, of course, other connections to the royal family there. Princess Diana's nieces, Amelia Spencer and Eliza Spencer, were also in attendance. Um, they also viewed a statue of the king. I think it was probably made. No, I think it is. A bust of King Charles features in the RHS Royal Tribute Garden. So that looks rather lovely. And there were Princess Margaret's son, David Armstrong Jones, second Earl of Snowdon, was also there. And I think I've written down the Gloucesters, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester were there. Princess Alexandra was there. And as I've just said, also the Princess of Wales. So there are plenty of photos online for you to see of that. Small Fries says Prince Harry wanted the internationally protected person status when he was in the UK, and in the US, then taxpayers would be stuck paying a piece of security. Well, I've looked into the IPP status, and it doesn't necessarily involve close protection. It does involve all the member states that are involved in this treaty. Um, a lot of it is to do with immunity, political immunity against anything that goes wrong there. Um, but when it comes to who obtains it, normally it is when somebody is visiting another country, and they are formally working for that country. They are representing that country. So it is, as I suggested in the previous video, because I looked it up straight after to make sure that I was correct. And I was. So, for example, let's just say King Charles, no, let's just say Princess Anne visited Canada and she took along Zara Tindall. Princess Anne would be classed as having IPP status because she was formally visiting the country as a representative of the UK. Zara, who would be accompanying her, this is just an example, so don't hold me to that. She would then be able to get IPP status because she is in attendance with her mother on that individual trip. But she doesn't class as an individual that receives IPP status. So it would just be for that occasion. Prince Harry has chosen to not formally represent the United Kingdom, chosen to move away, and he's not representing the country in any kind of capacity. So therefore, I very much doubt, under the rules that I can see, that he would qualify for IPP status. I could be wrong. There could be some sort of loophole somewhere. But as I read it, and I read all the different little points and all the part A, point two, and all the rest of it, um, as far as I can conclude from this, I don't think he qualifies unless he is a working member of the royal family, which he stepped back from. Eva says Catherine just looks stunning. Yes, she could wear a paper bag and she'd look absolutely gorgeous. Let's have a look. Small Fry says Camilla is a nice looking woman for her age. She is, and I always love it when she wears hats in particular. So Chelsea Flower Show went without a hitch. I thought that was a really lovely thing. Now, going back to Harry for a moment, because I heard some rumours online about the Montecito home, and people were saying online, or trying to say, that perhaps Harry and Meghan were renting the Montecito home, because basing it on the fact that it was previously up for rent. I think it was £700 and $700 an hour or something like that. Perhaps the previous owners had it up for rent for TV, film, photo shoots, whatever it might be. So the rumours were swirling that perhaps they are still renting. And I looked it up on Zillow. It's very easy to find out whether a sale went through. So a sale did go through for $14,650,000 on the 6th of the 18th, 2020. So a sale did go through, and of course, Harry and Meghan are living there now. So it was sold. I don't think they are renting. Now, the only thing, Zillow obviously confirms that there was a sale, it confirms how much. It doesn't confirm that Harry and Meghan were the ones that actually bought it. So there is still a chance, maybe somebody else bought it on behalf of them. Maybe a rich, wealthy friend purchased it, and then they're either living there rent free or they're paying a rent. That is one possibility. The other possibility, of course, is that Harry and Meghan bought it themselves. Or another possibility is maybe King Charles, as Prince of Wales, bought it. We don't actually know. I mean, I'm sure Harry wouldn't say whether or not his father actually bought him a house. I mean, he's bought Angela Kelly a house, the Queen's dressmaker, and we think, going back to Angela Kelly for a moment, we think obviously she had pre-agreed with Her Late Majesty that she could write another book. Now, as part of this deal to rehome Angela Kelly in a home for her lifetime, then it reverts back to part of the Crown Estates. Perhaps there is some sort of gagging order preventing her from doing further books, preventing her from talking about her time with the Queen. I still think Angela Kelly will have a lucrative time on the circuits, maybe talk shows, talking about her experiences, but maybe she can't spill any details or any tea on the royals or her time, her very close relationship, of course, working with Her Late Majesty. So it is possible that those three options potentially for the Montecito home. Personally, I think Harry and Meghan just bought it either with a mortgage or without a mortgage. I don't think it says whether or not it has a mortgage. I don't think so. But yeah, no, it's a sale definitely went through in 2020. So those rumors that it's still being rented, that they just rented it, I don't think are true at all when it comes to that. Right, I'm just going to refresh my page because I don't think I'm getting any of the comments. So just bear with me a moment while I refresh my screen. I'm not getting any of the comments. Okay, so next I would like to talk, and I think I am going to make, oh yeah, the King and Queen in Northern Ireland. Yes, So the King and Queen have made, again, a surprise visit. So surprise visits are plenty. Not only have we had the Duchess of Edinburgh in Iraq, because of the sensitivities involved in Ireland and between Ireland, Northern Ireland, and of course the United Kingdom, the visit was very low key. And of course, this is a very historic moment as well, because obviously Charles is visiting for the first time as the new king, and of course with Camilla as queen and consort. So we haven't had too much information coming out yet as to what they've been up to. I will probably talk about that in a future video. But I think it's really good and important to note that Charles, as king, is visiting all parts of the United Kingdom. Of course, we had the slightly sort of mini tour when he first ascended to the throne before the Queen's funeral. He went to all of the sort of home nations. What we haven't seen yet are any major plans for any foreign tours. And I know myself and some friends were talking about this, saying that when obviously Her late Majesty came to the throne, she embarked on a 6-month Commonwealth tour. And of course, things aren't done that way anymore. We don't have the Royal Yacht Britannia. So things are a little bit different. Plus, we have to remember that Charles, as Prince of Wales, has visited pretty much all of the Commonwealth countries. I don't think there's many countries that he hasn't been to, if any. So he has visited. Plus, we have to factor into the account his age, and of course, Camilla's age as well. So, at a time when most people would be winding down, he is stepping up. What I think we'll see with regards overseas tours and visits is very much the workload being shared out between the working members of the royal family. I don't think, as king, he will embark on it all himself. Plus, many countries in the Commonwealth still need to be introduced to William and Catherine as Prince and Princess of Wales. So I think a lot of the overseas tours will fall to the younger royals, and also Charles's siblings who are still working royals. So we're talking Edward and Sophie and Princess Anne. I will make a video on where I think the future of the royal family does actually lie, because this all kind of ties in. But I don't think we're going to be seeing a massive Commonwealth tour. I think most people thought that his first visit might be to a Commonwealth country, and of course it was not. So, so yes, it is important that the royal family visit afresh. How these tours are going to look going into the future, we don't know. We know that there were issues with regards to the aesthetics of royal tours, especially those in the Commonwealth, and most recently Caribbean countries. Of course, lots of Caribbean countries and places in the Commonwealth are having open discussions on whether or not they still want to have the head of state as a sovereign, whether they still want to be part of a constitutional monarchy. Those conversations will continue to go ahead into the future. I think there are new sensitivities that have been learned from, for example, the things that happened on the then Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's tour of the Caribbean. And let's not forget that these foreign tours are all in conjunction and in agreement with the UK government and the host nation. So anything anything that goes on that tour has been pre-agreed. But the look of it was just not fitting the moment. So I think foreign tours will go ahead in the future, but they will be very carefully choreographed to not um, to not be too emotive when it comes to the optics of things. So will we see, for example, you know, William and Catherine or Charles and Camilla riding atop, being carried by local people? I don't think so. I think those days are now well and truly gone. Although, I'm sure the host nation wanted to do that, and they felt that it was an honour to carry them. Just the sheer optics of it didn't go down very well in a wider context. So I think the intentions were sincere from both sides, but the optics weren't. And I think lessons have been learned. So I would say that visits will go ahead, but they will go ahead with caution. Now, I'm not seeing any messages. My laptop has frozen. I will try and refresh the page once more. But if it's not loading, then I will have to bid you all farewell. So thank you for watching this video. If you do have any thoughts and comments, please leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you do have any topics that you would like me to discuss or delve into a little bit deeper, then please leave a comment as well, and I will try and pick that up in a future video. So thank you for watching this live chat. Sorry about the earlier audio issues. We did sort it out. I just need to charge up my microphones. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.